We found Spencer Pratt's hidden court records. We read Spencer Pratt's sealed Malibu files. We read about the bleeding victim, the one that didn't survive. We read about the fled crime scene. Listen, if you think it's cute to be riding for Spencer Pratt for mayor because you're protesting LA's establishment or you want your families to feel safer, you need to see the buried criminal court records and the recent local tragedy his campaign team is terrified you're going to find out about. Look, I understand being fed up with the Democratic establishment in a city that voting for an MTV reality villain might feel like a chaotic way to demand a higher level of public safety. But what you are being told about Spencer Pratt's campaign is only half the story. The reality that they don't want you to see is that he's actively hiding a criminal past where he abandoned a bleeding victim at a crime scene, and so much worse. His weaponized cruelty directly contributed to a death of a beloved Palisades resident. And I'm going to show you the actual receipts his team is terrified of you finding. And you will never look at this race the same way again. So real quick, Loren Piretra, if you're new here, Willa Piretra is snoozing behind me. And we're going to ask you to please take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. If you don't subscribe, you may risk 10 years of Stephen Miller nesting in your crawl space, or multiplying like a fruit fly and hovering over one dry banana in the corner of your kitchen. Subscribing is a great way to help protect your local small business from becoming a Turning Point USA Faith Center and a male-only podcast studio. The choice is yours. Every action you take, every sub, every follow, every comment, 6 words or more, every save, every share, everything you do to support this podcast, it adds a layer of protection. So stay safe out there. Right now, we are watching an MTV villain treat the LA mayoral race like it's a new pilot episode. And naturally, Turning Point USA CEO just surfaced to call the champion unconventional and refreshing, which makes perfect sense. If anyone understands the mechanics of how hollow right-wing grift is, it's her. Nobody actually knows her real background. Erica Kirk possesses a highly specific talent for drifting towards conservative figures with zero moral compass and a lot of money. It's pretty impressive how quickly Erica Kirk can just find a mic and find a camera and find a wad of cash. I mean, of course, Erica Kirk, like Spencer Pratt. When Spencer Pratt was asked his political role model, who he sees himself as, he answered Jesus Christ, and he did it with a straight face.
Who is your political role model?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why he reached for Jesus Christ and then Barack Obama when he could have easily said Andrew Cuomo. He could have easily said Marjorie Taylor Greene. He could have easily said Crash Patel, or Pete Kegsbreath. But yeah, like Erica Kirk endorsing him, of course, it makes sense. And even Drew Carey had to log on, tap back into social, and beg voters to wake up, that this is a whole scam. And then Spencer's own sister, Stephanie, magically did a U-turn in Vanity Fair to declare absolute trust in his political vision. What's going on here? Nothing is making any sense. It's just very, very, very bizarre. Okay, so every crisis in Spencer's life is inevitably going to become some sort of content stream.
Fire was not what motivated me to go after becoming the mayor of Los Angeles. It was the months after and discovering the layers of city negligence and then the cover-ups and the lies.
TMZ and Deadline caught him signing a deal with Boardwalk Pictures to film a reality show about his mayoral run. So he's running for public office to secure a producer credit, which violates city ethic rules under Municipal Code Section 49.5.5A. So he's already breaking rules and trying to be the man of law and order. My personal favorite was the TMZ clip where he was asked, so do you actually live in a trailer or do you live at the Bel Air Hotel?
I don't live at the Hotel Bel Air. I don't live in the Airstream. I don't live in the Santa Barbara. I don't have a house. I haven't been at the Bel Air Hotel for more than 6 days in the last month. This is all public
right, but that's where you've been staying. I know you may not have actually been in it.
No, I've been in Santa Barbara where the LA Times reported where I lived and doxed me. That is where I live. I don't live anywhere is what I'm saying. I don't have a house. They burned it down, Harvey.
And he was like, listen, all this might sound minor, but while we're all arguing about this reality TV contract and what the campaign is hiding, there is so much going on that nobody's picking up on. And there's something so much darker. And this is where things stop making sense. And what if I told you, when I first started this podcast, I remember sitting there thinking, what if nobody listened? Seriously, you put so much time and energy into building something. And then there's always that little voice in your head wondering if it's ever going to work out. But taking that leap ended up being one of the best decisions I've ever made. And if you're starting a business or launching something new, having the right tools behind you can make such a huge difference. That's why Shopify is such a game changer. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From huge brands to brand new entrepreneurs just getting started, they give you hundreds of customizable templates so that way your online store actually looks clean and professional. And Shopify handles everything in one place: inventory, payments, analytics, shipping, returns, all of it. Plus, if you ever get stuck, their award-winning 24/7 customer support is always there to help. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Loren. That's shopify.com/Loren. And that's Loren. And I will link it in the description. To understand who Spencer is, let's look at him when the reality cameras aren't editing his narrative. We have to look at that hidden piece of his past. Let's look at what happened in Malibu back in 2003. When Spencer was 19 years old, an adult, according to the actual court records, a human being was severely injured in a wreck. He caused this wreck, a massive car crash, by tailgating another driver. Totally preventable. So the normal empathetic reaction when you hurt somebody is to stop and call for help. What did Spencer do? He drove away. He completely abandoned the crime scene and left an injured person on the side of the road to save his own skin. He dodged the legal system for nearly 2 years. He ghosted his court dates for so long that the judge had to issue a bench warrant. They had to issue a bench warrant for his arrest just to force him to show up. And when he finally ran out of options, he cut a plea deal to drop the hit and run count. His total punishment for leaving an injured person on the asphalt was a $100 fine. To be a white man in Los Angeles, to be a white man with a wealthy family, with a dentist ad. What a time. So keep that in mind, because this is why it matters. This is the exact person asking you to hand him control of the Los Angeles police force and an $11 billion city budget.
If I don't get in, and we have 4 more years of these current plans and this current direction and not a real 180 change, everyone is in big trouble.
He is running on a platform of cleaning LA up and making it a safe place and keeping you safe. And listen, I talked to voters this weekend. I went door to door, and parents looked me in the eye and they said, we're voting based on public safety. And they are riding for this man. This man who avoided all accountability for 2 years until he finally had an arrest warrant out and had to show up and pay his $100 fine. He left somebody on the side of the road bleeding that he hit, just drove off. And he is running on a platform asking for your vote. He doesn't care about law, and he certainly doesn't care about your safety, especially if you were the one that he hit in the car. Accountability to him, his lesson learned was it only costs $100 when you have a trust fund and a daddy that's a dentist. So as bad as that cover up is, it pales in comparison to what happened more recently. Because once you understand the next part, the original explanation of his campaign becomes almost impossible to believe. The media is framing Spencer's campaign as a rogue, anti-establishment crusade born out of the ashes of the 2025 Palisades Fire. He wants voters to believe he's fighting for the victims, but the reality of what he actually did during that recovery is incredibly dark. It involves the deliberate destruction of a local hero, and the implications are pretty difficult to ignore. So Larry Vane was a 61-year-old community advocate. And after the fire wiped out thousands of homes just a mile or two from me, Larry dedicated his life to keeping the traumatized Pacific Palisades community connected. People whose homes were reduced to rubble. People who had to leave screaming by foot, carrying babies and children, abandoning their cars. They had seconds, many of these people, and a lot of people just had to watch it all go down from a Ring camera. Larry founded the Pali Strong Foundation specifically to support with community aid, to get resources to survivors. He was the one trying to hold the neighborhood together. So when Larry's organization received a disaster recovery grant, Spencer got a little jealous. And he got so jealous and became such a maniac that he was like, okay, I'm going to destroy you. And he took this as an opportunity not to lift up fellow community members and help with mutual aid. No, he saw this as an opportunity to manufacture outrage. And he aimed his massive digital platform, mobilized his base, and pointed them directly at Larry. And he launched a relentless cyberbullying campaign. And listen, if you've never been on this side of the internet, it can be fucking hard. And I've worked with creators my whole career, and the real life impact of being relentlessly bullied and harassed and doxxed online, it takes a toll. That doesn't just go away when you shut your computer or turn your phone off. And Spencer publicly branded Larry as deranged and a paid puppet simply because Larry presented a community award to Mayor Bass. So the emotional pressure from that targeted harassment broke him. In late April of this year, Larry tragically died by suicide. Following his death, Larry's own brother came forward and explicitly stated that Spencer Pratt brutalized Larry online. The weight of that harassment was unbearable. Spencer didn't just capitalize on a natural disaster here. What Spencer did was he very intentionally weaponized his base, weaponized cruelty, and directed that directly onto Larry, which directly contributed to the death of a person who was actually trying to help. Search results for this include an Instagram post saying Spencer Pratt brutalized my brother, and that weighed very heavily on him. And on threads and Instagram posts, you can see Pratt bullying one of the Pally Strong volunteers. I cannot verify those allegations beyond the existence of these public claims, and also in what I've heard in my community. I've lived on the West Side for a very long time, and this is the piece everyone missed. Spencer is flooding your feeds with ads claiming he's the only candidate who could bring public safety back to Los Angeles, but he is the threat. He used his influence to terrorize a neighborhood advocate just to score political points against the mayor, just because he was mad. He doesn't care about community safety. He doesn't care about mutual aid and supporting others. He cares about his own bag. He cares about generating engagement, and he cares about revenge. I need you to help me out here. If you live in Los Angeles, if you have friends in Los Angeles, if you have parents, moms, dads, community members that you know in Los Angeles who are eligible voters, you need to share this video with them. You need to help get the word out on this. We cannot elect Spencer Pratt. We cannot throw away a protest vote on this man. Absolutely not. Not on my watch. Not on Willow's watch either. Okay? Share this video. Save, subscribe. These videos don't do so well with my advertisers. So if you could help me out and really make sure you hit that subscribe button, this will be able to keep us in business, keep the lights on, and keep Willa in the biscuit factory and off the streets. Back with more.